Humble Dad, back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. Got a great show for you this evening, as we typically do, and that's why I say it. Hey, we're gonna be talking about how is it that there are so many people out here talking about they want to be married, people saying that they don't want to be married, and all the things in between. And so the question that we have is, are women asking for too much, or are men just weak? Right? Meaning, women have set a pretty high standard, if you will, and to some degree, some people may say, and the men are saying, no, you need to bring your expectations to realistic expectations. So it has caught us in a situation where there is a part of this gender war that's going on, and so we're going to talk about how can we do a better job than Trump and Zelensky did, on Friday. If you haven't checked that out, you know what I'm saying. Don't pay attention to what the media say. Go watch it for yourself and see what you think. All right. So the first question that we're going to talk about is if you could change one thing about how men and women approach relationships today, what would it be? And we're going to start first with this young man, Jay Zilla, in the building. What's good, bro?
Same old, my friend. How about yourself?
Man, I'm making it, but I'm doing well while I'm doing it.
Always, man. You look good too.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
that's my wife. You know what I'm saying?
That glow up that we talk about with black women.
That's a fact.
hmm
What you got in the
if I could change one thing about how men and women approach relationships today, they would have to have a referral. That's what I'm going with. Some
that
sort
is
of referral program. You don't get to take me on a date. I'm taking it all the way back to antebellum.
dang. So basically what you're saying, this is a job interview
Yes,
or college
yes,
type deal.
and it will
Yeah.
be part of the legislation, or sorry, the education. And
Yeah.
what people would have to do is they would have to educate themselves what to look out for a good mate, male or female, and what to look out for in a bad mate, male or female. Build their own value system and tailor their application, and that will be part of the process. You exchange applications, and sorry, you don't qualify. Best of
That,
luck to you. Good
that's
day,
what's
sir or ma'am.
that's what's up. That's it. We may get into that. That's what's up. Thanks for being here, homie.
Yes, sir. Always.
Let's get it. Hey, we're gonna welcome to the stage none other than the New Yorker, but in Atlanta, Miss Taken in the building. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Your mic is a little louder. Is that me?
My mic is loud. I'll turn it down. Let's see. Is that better?
Yeah, it's a little better. I can turn mine down too, though. It may be a little better for me. That's cool.
It's
What you
coming
got?
from your laptop. I don't have all of that expensive mic stuff that y'all do.
What you got?
Um, if I could change one thing about how they approach relationships, I think I would kind of go back to old school in terms of, I know typically y'all just say having the, male vet, the potential partner. But if there's parents, if there's, mom and dad in the house, I think both of them, needs to vet, only because men will see things from one perspective and a woman will see other things. So you'll have, both perspectives. In determining whether this would be a good, match, to even pursue a relationship with or not.
So a community, basically.
Hmm.
Hey, that's what's up. Trusted advisors, if you will.
Exactly.
Appreciate you being here. Hey, and we're gonna welcome to the stage none other than, she's been gone for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why she's been checking out on us, but let's talk to her. What's up, Miss Jamie in the building?
What's up? You calling me out? We didn't even get started yet. You just gonna say that I've been checking out.
Well,
Been
as it
working.
relates to building relationships, you should let everything out up front, is what I've been told. Show your true self up front. You know what I'm saying?
That is true. I agree. I agree. If if you could change one thing about men and women approach relationships. I would say no relationships and just do arranged marriages. I'm at the point where I just feel like people make stupid decisions, and relationships are definitely becoming a waste of time. It's kind of like people want to be in long-term relationships rather than be married. I watched a video today with a lady who is with a man. She says, we're together, but we're not together because when he feels like leaving, he can, and then he come back. And so, but we've been doing this for like 10, 15 years. And I was like, so, and this is an older woman, right? So it's just people have that relationship part, just exit out. And then let's just do arranged marriages because people make stupid decisions.
So what if they have a divorce after the arranged marriage? What would you do with that?
I mean, at least they didn't waste 15 years in a relationship or a situationship.
I'm with you, but I'm just asking, what would you do in that scenario?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying that I think that relationships for 10, 15 years are a waste. I'm just being honest. Like,
I
I
know
think
where
that
you
is insane.
I know where you at. I'm just asking for the situation that we have in America right now.
You being
But
an antagonist.
arranged marriages are the least divorce, though, by the way, just so those that don't know. All right, and we're gonna welcome the Hulk Hogan, you know what I'm saying, of the Hulk of these streets. Prototype in the building. What it is, homie.
What's happening with you, man?
Oh man, what is that sound?
I don't know. Wow, how's it sound?
It sound like you in a tunnel.
I don't know. I got a new little board, so
Okay, you probably just have to turn it down a little bit.
maybe.
Yeah, because you're gonna
Yeah.
sound good.
It sounds
That
like your
don't sound
gain
good.
is up.
He said it sounds like your gain is up. You got it? Say he can't hear you.
Oh, you couldn't hear me at all just now.
Yeah, but we can hear you now.
Okay. I wish people came in more genuine, trying to really find love within each other and, take care of each other, treat each other like good civil human beings instead of like what I can get from you. You know what I'm saying? Just I wish it was more about genuine behavior, a genuine connection, opposed to it being about funds or yams or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wish it was really about our personalities and how we could really help and care for each other. But yeah.
What's up? I will. The one that I was thinking about is that if people knew what their boundaries were instead of trying to figure out what they are based on who it is that they deal with, right? So if you are a person, for example, you want to go to church on a regular basis, but that person is not an attendee, and they don't know if they're even willing to do it, then they shouldn't even be an option. You feel me? Right? Or somebody may say, okay, I go, I like a woman or a man that goes to the gym, but that other person is not even remotely wanting to go to the gym. Then why is there a conversation? You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm just giving an example of some boundaries that people may or may not have, but to know what they are going in, and then if they don't meet those boundaries or whatever, or they go outside those boundaries, then y'all just have a conversation and say, you know what, we're not gonna be able to do this. And I think also that people should come into it as we doing this from the position of trying to get married. We're not just doing this just to be here, because as you said, Jamie, it's a waste of time if we just out here and then you complain about the women that are out here and you complain about the men that are out here. But what were your intentions from the beginning, right? Hopefully Dwayne will come on here. He'll talk about oh no, it was my wife that was like, people talk about they get scammed, but there was something that they was looking for on the other end, though. They were trying to get a shortcut themselves. So that's neither here nor there. But this goes into the first video. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna see what y'all think. This is Trill. Shout out to AC.
Do you feel like generally, in this era that we in, that women are a little too in a rush to be in relationships?
Do I feel like women rush? No, it's just women know what they want. Girls gonna play around. Women know what they want. So at the end of the day, it's almost like no games are necessary. Like, what are we doing?
A lot of women are in a rush to be in relationships, and that, leads them to swim moving past red flags and speeding past things that they should stop and take a deep, deep, deep look at. Like, in a sense, they kind of help men finesse them. And that's not spoken on enough. Like, your eagerness to be in this relationship allowed me to not even have to dig too deep into my bag if I'm that type of a guy. I'm not talking about, but if I'm that type of a guy, your eagerness works in my favor.
So I want to take it apart. I want somebody to talk to me from a position of the man or the woman, not necessarily the whole context of the question. So what do you think about what she said or what he said? Proto, what you got?
I agree with them, right? That eagerness is really easy to take advantage of, man. And when we see it eager like that, we're like, oh, we already think it's in the bag. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, that goes back to us just, what I said, I wish it was genuine on both parties. Like, a person should be excited, should be allowed to be eager or excited about somebody without looking like a target. You know what I'm saying? But that's the very thing that makes you a target, when you're like excited about when you're excited about the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, it's over now. I'm just gonna use this one for everything they got. So,
Okay, I got you. Who you got next?
let's go with Jamie.
I'm gonna ask you to play it one more time.
Boy, I tell you. Listen.
Do you feel like generally, in this era that we in, that women are a little too in a rush to be in relationships?
Do I feel like women rush? No, it's just women know what they want. Girls gonna play around. Women know what they want. So at the end of the day, it's almost like no games are necessary. Like, what are we doing?
A lot of women are in a rush to be in relationships, and that, leads them to swim moving past red flags and speeding past things that they should stop and take a deep, deep, deep look at. Like, in a sense, they kind of help men finesse them. And that's not spoken on enough. Like, your eagerness to be in this relationship allowed me to not even have to dig too deep into my bag if I'm that type of a guy. I'm not talking about, but if I'm that type of a guy, your eagerness works in my favor.
Okay, you said pick a side, right? Is that what you said?
Comment on one or the other. What you think about what she said, or what you think about he said.
Okay, so what she said women know what they want. And so I just said it, that the woman said that she's in this 10-15 thing because of the way that he shaped the relationship. She wanted marriage, right? She knew what she wanted, but then she compromised for a situationship. So I agree. I don't agree with what she said. I don't think that women really know what they want. They have an ideal of like what they expect or think that should happen. And in the beginning, he may give that to her. He may finesse her. Like, that's what he said. So that eagerness allows the man to finesse you. And then you bypass those red flags, like the not living up to his word, or not calling when he said he was going to, those little things that you probably should pay attention to, or him not interacting with you enough the way. So I agree with him. I agree with him. I think that women are too eager to be in a relationship because and sex ships. Let's forget that. Let's put that on the table too, because a lot of times women will have sex with a man and he clearly told you, I don't want a relationship. I just want to have fun. But she feels like if she lays it on him good enough, that he might change his mind. So women are delusional in a sense, because she's thinking that if she goes into this relationship, because he said that's what they want, he didn't say he wanted marriage though. This relationship gives him comfort, it gives him food, it gives him whatever when he needs it, and nowhere in there did he say he wanted to be married to you. So a lot of times women do things they think they could do. If they do one thing, they can convince the man for the other, and that becomes manipulation and control in the situation. So it's not a relationship. It's not even that. It's, I have an objective. You fit the look, because I didn't even get to know you. You fit the look. of the situation, and I'm going to make you into the man that this look is about to should give me, but all you do is give me trouble. And so that's my answer. I'm gonna go with Jay Zilla.
Yo. Okay. Going on the side from the woman's point of view, I think I think men and women are both falling prey to just what my co-host on another show would say, it's all pimping. Right? I put in the comments there that it's all marketing. So what do women want? They want what they are told to want through marketing in the myriad of ways it happens. And so I think the antidote to that sort of chaos is to want what God wants only and trust him to gift you what you truly want. And I think that's a good place to start. And I'm gonna go with Miss Taken. I ain't seen you in forever.
Hey, Jay Zilla. Oh man, I feel like everybody is going for woman, but it's easier, I think, for me to speak from a woman's perspective. Although I do definitely agree with Trill and the fact that we make it too easy. For men, I actually agree with the fact that she said women know what they want. However, I think there's a difference between knowing what you want and knowing what you need. I think a lot of women know what they need. I think you learn more along the lines of what you need by relationship. So it's kind of like a conundrum in that sense, because you kind of figure yourself out and learn things about yourself in relationship with others, whether it's a boyfriend girlfriend relationship or friend relationship, things like that. But in this context, we're talking about boy girl relationship. The other thing with that, I think another thing is that women are eager as well, is because I think some of that comes from the societal push on women. Hold on, let me finish. To be in relationship, get married, your clock is ticking, you don't have the same amount of time as men, so women are encouraged to get in relationships, whereas I do think men are told, take your time, figure out what it is that you want, don't be in a rush to get married, enjoy. So I think it's the messaging that both parties kind of get in regards to that. Women are told to get in relationships and boys are told to run from them. So I think that's kind of like that. That's
things like I think that they're both currently being told to avoid them unless you can get a leg up. So for example, my mother's generation, maybe y'all's mother's generation, told women, Black women specifically, go get your degree and then live your life, and then later think about a family, right? And guys have been told, wait till later. So both have been told wait till later since they were younger. So I think that was maybe in the past, maybe, but not currently. I wouldn't think, because all the people that I've talked to or interviewed or had a conversation with, if it would, they get to that mindset after they get to a point of like 31, 32, and women start thinking, my clock is now ticking, and not thinking that your clock is ticking at 18, 19, 20. Like they don't think, y'all not thinking like that. Right, as opposed to a guy. The guy is thinking, I got a clock that is in my head that I want to attain certain things so that I can be in a better position to have a woman, right? So I think that what I wanted to say is that I don't think I agree with the premise that you said, that women know what they want, but they don't know what they need, which is really challenging for you to be able to even be found, right? Because you're supposed to be in a position of not even looking. You're supposed to be putting yourself to be found. If we're going from a biblical perspective, because we always talk about it, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, and you know, he obtains favor from the Lord. So I think that where we are now in society is that women are trying to they're not trying to necessarily be wives. They want to be married, right? So I think that is what's going on. And then men are not necessarily equipped to be husbands because of what they fear will happen in a marriage. So they don't even think about.
So they're not equipped. Okay, wait. Just I'm listening to language.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
women are not taught to be wives, and you're saying men are not equipped, right? Would they not have to be taught as well?
Yes, it's the same thing. They're being equipped, being taught. They're
Okay.
interchangeable as it relates to vernacular, because a man typically he knows without being taught how to be a husband. He knows that he can be
That's why I said that. That's why I asked specifically, because of the language that you use. Language means something, so that's why I asked.
I agree. I'm saying that men know they're going to have to provide and protect the woman. They know that. But that's not all it takes to be equipped to be a husband, right? So they don't have to be taught how to provide and how to taught to protect. However, they do need to know how to be a leader as it pertains to dealing with a wife, because women are a totally different creature than men. Like I got to talk to a woman totally different than I talk to men. Like I could talk crazy to Prototype and Jay Zilla, and we'll have that banter back and forth. Women don't receive that same dialogue. So in a marriage, that man is going to have to kind of deal with how he communicates with her. So that's why I'm saying being equipped. You get taught, however you want to say it. It's an interchangeable of words. What's your thoughts, Jamie? Mistaken gonna come in there, I'm sure.
I'm
I
trying to
don't have
hold
any
back.
thoughts. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay, well,
I
then,
just
Mistaken, go ahead then. If you don't want it,
I got a thought.
okay, Proto.
Speaking to women in the same way you would speak to a man tends, from my experience, tends to work out for the man when you speak to a woman harshly for some strange reason. I think a lot of men have it in their head that you need to be gentle with women, but women will like walk over you and try to abuse that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying. Like they're like, oh, he's just weak. He's speaking to me softly, or he's respecting me too much. So because you respect her too much, she'll think you're a walkover, and you're like, no, I'm just not aggressive with women. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to how you said, like talking to another guy, the banter's a little bit more heavier. You know what I'm saying? But I seem like in today's time, women like to be talked to and treated like you would treat like your homeboy.
Interesting.
You get better results. I'll say you'll get better results treating women like a dude than opposed to trying to treat a woman cordially.
That's
It's crazy. It's crazy. But
Get
yeah.
in here real quick. Let me see what he say. Hey, you didn't get to see the clip, and that's okay. But you can respond to what Prototype just said. Do you think that women are, on average, right, are wanting the guy to be aggressive towards them when it comes to dialogue?
I don't know what they're like. Unfortunately, in that regard. Well,
Have you ever talked to a woman aggressively and she was like, oh, I appreciate that.
oh
You
no,
got
I know.
results.
No, what I'll say is, yeah, no, if whatever circle they want to be in, they're going to accept that particular treatment. So in that regard, I don't know what some of them like because I don't surround myself or put myself in those positions. But I will say, it does seem as if we have a liken to being lied to because if the truth does hurt, a lie is a way for us to comfort ourselves. So from a women's perspective, and it was Ricky somebody's lying. That points that out. So I think in that there is the deceiving yourself is wanting to surround yourself with people who will lie to you. Men typically don't surround themselves with dudes that's like that, but women will surround themselves with friends that will lie to them.
Interesting. Mistaken. You wanted to say something before we transition?
Yeah, because I'm back. I'm still on that language.
Okay.
So when you said using it interchangeably, we know that equipped and teaching have different meanings.
Okay.
So if you say a man is equipped, meaning that he's inherently already knowing, encompassed, he already comes with that. Then if we're using it interchangeably, then that means women don't need to be taught to be wives. They are, based on using a word that you had, are already equipped to be wives.
No, I said men are not equipped to be husbands.
I thought you said men are equipped to be husbands because they already know, coming in with knowing that they have to protect and provide.
No, if I said that, what I was saying is that men are not equipped to be husbands, and women have been taught to be wives.
Okay.
If I did not say that, that's what I meant.
That's what I meant. Okay, got it. That's where I was like it. Now I do think both need to be taught. And I do think actually both men and women do come with some inherent values and things that they need to be husband and wife. I think what happens is the problem is that societal conditions, environment begin to reshape those things. So like I know you probably heard like of the tabula rasa, right? You're just born with a clean slate, then everything that occurs, your environment shapes how you become. So I kind of think that for women, boys and girls, when they are born, I think all of that is shaped. So you lose that understanding of, like you said, how to protect and provide and need to be taught, or how to, be a helpmate or what have you, because society kind of imprints certain things on you, and then your experiences kind of shape how you become. But I do think both have the ability and capability to learn if that's the direction that they want to go, if they want to be somebody's husband or somebody's wife, and learn a deeper understanding, especially, and I'm gonna just say this for men, because as a woman, I experience men differently than men experience each other, right? So the idea behind the protection and provision, I think it's a very limited understanding on men's part, because their first go-to is always in the physicality of things, right? So protecting and providing will initially always mean physical protection and physical provision. But we know in a relationship, in a marriage, that actually probably, if we did the totem pole of things, that the physical protection would be more than likely at the bottom. So
Understood.
That's kind of
understood. So I guess we pretty much were saying the same thing. So based upon the clip, though, I was just saying that she's saying women know what they want, and that's a part of the conversation. Now, are they asking for too much as far as what they're saying, that they're saying that they know what they want, right? But I would say they don't know what they want either. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. Like, you say you know what you want, then if you know what you want, why do you continue to go for something that is not, or is what it is that you want even good for you? Right? Like, I want candy, but it ain't really good for me, right? And same thing with men. Men want a particular type of woman, but is that woman going to be good for you? Right? But men are not out here trying to be married like that, though. You're gonna have to be a really top-notch woman to get past his guards currently as it relates, especially since this red pill situation has transpired. So here's the question. What are the most common expectations women have for men today? So women that are saying that they wanted to be in a relationship, what is it that they're expecting to say yes and to be in this relationship with this guy? Okay. We'll start with you, Proto. What are some, I know we started with you last time, but that's okay. What are some the most common expectations women have for men today, you think?
To be fed and entertained.
I forgot about that answer.
That's it. That's it. To be fed and entertained.
That is true. Because I think because if you watch Pop the Balloon, that is literally the main thing they talk about. So that's you done with it. To be fed and entertained. Now
to be fed and entertained.
And it got to be somewhere specific, because they're not finna just go anywhere to go eat.
It depends on who you are. It depends on what you look like, I guess. That's where pretty privilege for a guy. You know what I'm saying? The more handsome you are, the less you got to pay. You know what I'm saying? So if you coming out the pocket like that, you mean you ugly. Boy, you ugly.
So basically what you said, if you want to know if you ugly or not,
what's your pockets tell you? What's that pocketbook tell you?
What you spending?
Yeah, what you spending?
Who you got next, bro? That's hilarious.
Let's go with Dwayne.
What are the most common expectations women have for men today? That they will be able to make them happy, and it is their responsibility to do so. That encompasses feed and entertain, and duties is assigned.
Who you got next?
Jamie, what you got?
I was just keeping it simple with communication and trustworthy. You know, they always say that I want somebody that can communicate well and, you know, that respects me. That you're not asking me, you're saying what are common. So I'm giving you what's common. I need some good communication, right? And some respect. That's what they say. And I'm being honest, I don't know. I had to Google this, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I don't know. I don't know what people expect, because I don't even. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I don't care what they expect, because when they say they expect something, they don't even really expect that. I realize that people are reverse psychology. When women wanted relationships with men, men didn't want nothing to have to do with it. Now we have men that are prepared to be husbands and ready to want wives, and now there's no women that want to do that. So I feel like it's just like people play mind games. It's just definitely, I'm going to want it if you tell me that I shouldn't want it anymore. It's reverse psychology. It's just like when you have kids, right? You say to the kid, I don't care if you like me. And guess what happens? The kid ends up loving you to death, right? But if you make it known that you want the kids to like you, they're not going to, because you want that. It is just human nature to do the total opposite of what's asked of them. So I had to Google it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had to Google it because I didn't have an answer.
All right. Who you got next?
Jay Zilla.
Self-actualization, esteem, love, and belonging is what most common expectations women, or the most common expectations women have in 2025.
Are you reading something?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Me and Miss Taken literally talked about this on our show, and it made me look more into it, and it brought it to mind. So no, I'm not reading anything. Those are I don't know if the order is right, but that was the pyramid, the top of the pyramid. And what we discussed on Urban say again?
I said, say that again. Then you said that women expectations,
esteem, love, what I say, belonging, self-actualization, something along those lines. But if you type in Maslow's I'm not sure how to spell it. Hierarchy of needs, you'll get there.
Gotcha.
But as I was saying, as me and Miss Taken on Urban Academia talked about before, in 2025, we have moved out of that physical thing, sort of pushing women towards men. And this ideal of, oh, he's the protector. We've kind of moved past that with jujitsu and insurance and weapons, right? The ring, all these things that give us the illusion, or give women the illusion that I'm pretty safe in my home, So I think as they start to move into this sphere of being more economically independent, they are looking for something deeper. And it's hard for them, this is my opinion, it's hard for them to recognize what they're actually looking for. And it's hard for men to live up to that because we keep hearing these talking points way more than Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And honestly, we just need to get back into our Bible. Something about respecting a man, and men loving a woman as Christ loved the church. Well, what do I do about the kids? Don't make them angry on purpose. You know what I mean? You got Proverbs woman, but she needs a corresponding husband to be able to do that. Because what women are doing is they move from these traditional families. What they're doing is they are making more money, and they're saying, okay, here's the deal. I make the money. I got a gun. I'll keep us safe. Now you do X, Y, Z. And they're finding out quickly that men are like, nope, that only applies to me. They're not going to help you clean the house, cook, or, wash dishes, right? Because that's not my job. My job is to be a provider and a protector. It's like, yeah, but we don't need that. I need you to do, now, see, you being disrespectful right now. You know what I mean? I just think we need to have better communication, better conversations.
So you
higher levels.
Interesting. So you believe that because women have adjusted to society and having the same things that men have, that men should adjust to women?
No, not men should. I'm just observing what I'm seeing happening. Which is, I've been told for centuries, because I protect you, because I make the money and bring home the bacon, you now have to do this list of things. But now that they are making the money and protecting themselves, and they're expecting that from their man to adjust, men are like, no, man, that's for women to do because of the messaging we receive.
Okay, so you're just laying out the game, so to speak. That's going.
Yes, as industry changed, families change, from great grandmama all the way down to the newborn baby, and then we moved out of slavery into farm life and went to the nuclear family, and then we moved away from that to tech, which allows women to be more, independent financially, and now it's independent. I don't need no man.
This is what I don't know if it's a pushback or what's interesting about the statement that you're making is that women are saying that they want more of what is like there's a word they use a lot of is emotional intelligence, right? And they want the man to be there as well for them in all the aspects of being there. But at the same time, they're saying that they want this man to also be the person that builds, fixes things, cut the grass, all that nature. They still want him to do the man type things. You feel me?
While that's the problem. That's the good trick of the enemy.
So to say, for a woman to say, because I now make more money and now I can protect myself, I think I should do less. However, you men should do more of my job, but still keep doing what you're doing. That right there is also a problem, right? Because
I think you're agreeing with me. Here you go, mistaken. I think
I'm just talking about the idea that is there, right. Because
I'm talking about the marketing.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you.
Okay.
And because I liken this to when the NBA was talking about having men lean in. I don't know if you remember that marketing. Okay, they were saying, "Men, you need to lean in more at doing stuff at the house." Okay, so whether it was cooking or cleaning or helping with the kids. Well, that doesn't take away from I'm not saying that he should or shouldn't, but what I'm saying is it's not like she's now going to acquiesce and say, you know what, I'm gonna go help him with the yard. I'm going to help him take out the trash, or I'm going to help him fix on whatever needs to be fixed on, changing the battery in the in the alarm that we always hear these single women in the background have, right? So I'm just saying it's interesting that they want so much more on their side, but they're not coming forward to do the other things that the men already have to do. Miss Taken, what you thinking? I'm gonna come to you.
So this is an observation that I made before, when men speak to the, expectations that women have to keep doing the same things that they've been doing in addition to. Now, I can't speak for anybody else, so I'm gonna speak for myself and what I have observed. All right, in the fact that when men are referring to those things, like you said, take out the trash or change the battery or mow the lawn, anything, many things that can be outsourced, like mowing the lawn, men outsource that. So they're not even mowing the lawn, right? The other duties that you would have them do, like take out the trash or things, a lot of those responsibilities are not daily responsibilities. So a lot of times when you hear women asking for help or support, typically it's around domestic work, like Jay Zilla was saying, around stuff that is going to be done on a daily basis. And a lot of times that's where women get pushback. Again, I can't speak for anybody else's observation. I'm speaking from mine and based off of research. But that that is part of it. Like right now, like my husband, he takes out the trash. It's just him and I here that are here now. But that's a job that occurs once every week. It goes out on Sunday. He pulls the trash to the, sidewalk on Sunday, because we don't produce a whole lot of garbage, with just the two of us being here. With our grass being, our lawn being taken care of. He no longer mows the grass. My son is not here, and so he don't mow the grass, right? He can't mow the grass. So that has been outsourced. But I can say that those responsibilities, he has taken up more of the domestic labor since it's just him and I here. So he helps with dishes. He cooks, so I mean, I've been blessed to actually have that. But speaking to other women that I know who are married are like, oh, my husband won't do that. Oh, he ain't gonna do that. I know not to even ask him that because he's not gonna do that. A lot of men aren't.
Their living situation the same as yours?
Are there in terms of, well, some of them have kids. Some of them are empty nesters.
Okay.
So yes. But that goes into kind of what the question was. Jamie actually took some of my answers with the communication, the respect and honesty. So I won't speak to that. But I also put the consistency and effort. Empathy was another one. Ambition and drive, and like partnership. Men hate that word, but I think just like we look at submission a certain way, I think men look at partnership a certain way. And basically what I'm saying in regards to that is more along the lines of understanding and looking at the fact that we are a team, is a team effort in terms of having a healthy marriage. You can't lead us into a healthy marriage, right? By yourself. It's going to take me, in my contribution to that marriage as well. So both parties have some input into the way that, the direction that the marriage will work. So when I'm saying partnership, I'm speaking to that effort, that there has to be equal, I guess what's the word that I'm looking for? Equal engagement, I guess, and insurance that
Everybody needs to play their part.
huh?
Everybody needs to play their part. Whatever
Exactly.
that part is, and being an expert.
Right.
All right, let me get Jay Zilla in here. What you got, Jay Zilla?
I think what I was trying to convey is that the gender roles themselves were something that was constructed, right? That's something that is made up. Everybody just pitched in and did whatever needs to be done. Historically there have been women hunters and women gatherers, and the vice versa has been true. Back in ancient Egypt, they're finding that women own businesses by themselves. Proverbs woman talks a lot about a myriad of different industries, not just one thing. She's making clothes, she's doing bookkeeping, she's doing housekeeping, she's doing childcare. She's, you know what I mean? She's doing a lot. And I think that's what we have to get back to, is figuring out who gave us this definition of gender roles, how did we buy into it, and how has it systemically destroyed most notably Black and brown families. I say primarily Black because Mexicans do still have a culture and a heritage they can always pull from. You're going to see Abuela with little Nino. I see it all the time. Whereas with us, you're 18, bye-bye. But how I was raised and how I'm raising my children, the ideal is, men, you need to be able to fend for yourself. You should know how to cook, clean, do laundry, all that, as well as kill a spider, as well as find a dadgum stud with a stud finder and hang a dadgum picture, right? And my girls, same thing. We just rotate around here. Everybody does dishes. Everybody at some point is taking out trash. Everybody is taking the bins back in. You know, so this is the sort of thing we have to really question in good faith and figure out, is it just women are out of control? Is it just men out of control? Or is something else working behind the scenes? Because if you're a Christian, it's a very simple concept. There's only one war, a spiritual one, and there are only two sides.
That's really good. That is true. It's only two sides. I think the important part is to, like I was telling this men group that I had on Saturday, I was telling them, I said, the struggle that I had coming into a marriage or not wanting to be married was that I was comparing what my marriage would be to everybody else's, when in actuality, I'm not their marriage. It's a combination of me and whoever my wife is going to be. And we were going to be the people that were able to make the marriage work. Right. There are some things that you can learn on average from other relationships and marriages. Right. But ultimately, it's going to be between you two figuring out what everybody is supposed to do in the household. Right. Whether that's cooking, cleaning, doing the lawn, whatever works for you. Right. And whatever makes your relationship go is what's going to be the determining factor for your success, just like with any other team, right? If we're talking about sports, there are teams that will run the ball and be successful, but there are other teams that will do pass and be successful. And there are some teams that do a combination of both, right? So it's a matter of what works well for your personnel, if I can say it like that, right? But going back to what you said, Jay Zilla, Proverbs 31, she did a lot, but nowadays women are saying they don't want to do those things, right? So it's not a matter of, well, it depends on what it is for the group to be successful. They have already positioned themselves to say, I'm not going to cook and clean for nobody. This is on average, right? I'm not his mama. That's the average thing. Then you have men that say, well, if she's saying that she doesn't want to do 50-50, then what is she talking about she's going to be doing?
That's the question men should be asking. Before you date, before you hook up, what is it that you want? And if she can't answer it, maybe she's not mature enough to be dating yet, and you should move on.
Agreed.
Same thing with women.
Agreed. But I'm saying that's the thing that I'm hearing, is that women want a guy that is, on average, is going to be is taking care of everything. And if that's the guy, he's saying, okay, well, then what are you going to do if you're saying you're not even willing to cook and clean? And she's saying, well, we can just hire somebody out. Well, then what are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
So why is that man staying with that woman? Why is a woman staying with a man like that?
I'm with you. I'm just telling you, just like you said before, this is what's going on in the game and why each other is not able to connect, because each one of them wants something that the other is not willing to give. Proto, what's your thoughts on what we're talking about?
I think as far as gender roles is concerned, I think nobody wants to let them go, but at the same time, women do want more help. Which I said it before. I don't think women like being moms. I don't think women enjoy being women. They always want to, like, if you give them a penis, the first thing is, I can't wait to pee standing up. Like, you know what I mean? They idolize what we do so hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's I don't really know, because at this point, you know, I feel like women are just going so far that way. We don't need y'all. Yeah, you know, we want to be independent, and we just got to accept where they're going and let them go. You know what I'm saying? I think men, especially nowadays, we're better fathers. We're helping out with the kids. We're taking kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're getting full custody now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we stepped up in major ways in being more domestic, you know, to the home, and being more understanding and expressing feelings. But it's like it's truly women who want to go back to the Stone Ages, for even though they scream bloody murder about, oh, I don't want to be, or this and that. That's genuine, which I want. Y'all want to be told to shut up and sit down and follow my direction, because y'all don't know what to eat, type stuff. So,
Jamie,
So
what's your
ridiculous.
thoughts? Oh no,
So
Jamie,
ridiculous.
come on now. What's your thoughts on the conversation or what anybody has said?
I think I said it. You know, people. All right, so I've been reading the Bible, and I look at the Old Testament,
It is so
and there's
disappointingly, though.
something like, no, but I'm going back. So I'm reading it like I'm like the narrator, and I'm starting to get irritated with people in general, because, like, for instance, they get taken out of Egypt. God does all these things, like all these miraculous things, right? And they're like, "Oh my God, we want meat. We just want some meat. Can we get some meat, bruh? Like, what? Give us this meat." So he gives them the meat, and God's like, "I'm gonna give you meat for this many days." And Moses goes, "Well, if you give them the meat, they still not gonna be satisfied." So now the dialogue is going back and forth, because every time you give these people something, they're never happy. Okay, so God gives them the meat. Then he kills a bunch of them because they so greedy. It makes him so angry. He's like, "Y'all just gotta die, because your heart is so greedy, you're wicked. Just kill him." You know, God didn't have grace back then, not the way he do now. So then we fast forward, right? And they're like, "We should just go back to Egypt. We should just die." And here's the thing. God says, "Okay, y'all not gonna go into the promised land, but I'm about to give you everything you asked for." And I think what it is we've been trained to, when somebody says, "I want more," for us to do it, when we should have the same energy that God has. I'm going to give you what you say you want, and that's all you're going to get. Because if I feed into the cat and mouse game with you, you're never going to grow, and you're never going to understand this is what you asked for. God said, "How long I got to deal with you people that keep on asking for stuff and you're never satisfied? You don't remember what I did for you?" And that's just like what men and women are saying, right? I think we're all just tired, but we're so selfish that we can't see what the other person is doing for each other, right? We can't we so selfish and so coveting that we always looking for the next thing to give us that dopamine hit. Because if that's what it is, it's a dopamine hit, right? And it feeds our greed, it feeds our flesh. And it's just so, like I said, I'm just, I had to Google it, because I'm at this point where I don't care what anybody wants. I don't care, because they're never satisfied, ever, never be, until they get with the Lord and they understand what being content and being humble and all of those things are. People are going to always do this. because that is their nature. God said, how long do I have to deal with you people? Like, how long do I have to keep doing stuff for you and you don't understand me? Like, you don't understand that I love you enough for that. That's why I think, we take grace for granted now in this age, because God was like a real dad, right? He'd be like, oh no, you're about to get this whooping, all of it. Every last, and I'm not letting up, because I'm gonna let you remember what you said. I'm gonna let you remember what you did, and I'm gonna let you remember what I brought you out of, because you seem to forget who I am.
Mhm.
Right? We need to give that same energy in all our relationships. We go in there knowing who we are. We know what we say we expect, and we just need to own that and let that be. Let it be. I just don't understand. I feel like, where my brick wall at?
Listen,
Because it feels like we are just keep on talking to brick walls. But that's because we are selfish, self-seeking people. And that's just it. We
I
need
hate
the Lord. We need
I've
to humble ourselves. We need to turn from our wicked ways, and then guess what happens? He'll heal the land. Nothing we do within ourselves is going to work without Christ Jesus, not God. I'm not just God. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. He says the only way to the Father is through Jesus Christ anyway. So if you don't have Christ, I don't know what you got. But I know this. I am on the same energy the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is on, which is, you got to get all this smoke, every last one of it, because I'm
see.
tired.
I see.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Boo.
No, Dwayne gonna come in here. Listen, I don't like this. Is what I don't like. This is what I don't like. Okay. I don't like that Miss Taken and Jamie only come on here every now and then, because you all give some of the most quality information that people in general need to hear, but also from a woman's perspective. Uh, and I'm just saddened that y'all just reduce your time on the show. But I get it. I get it. You got things to do. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate and I can see where y'all coming from and see your heart behind the message, right? So, mistaking is from the position of like it's a man and a woman thing, and then we need to work together type deal. Jamie is like, listen, there needs to be some brass knuckles in here for people to get that where you at right now, there's got to be a heart transplant, right? And it's not from a doctor's perspective, it is from a spiritual perspective. And you're speaking to women a lot of the times, even though you may be talking to men as well, right? Because what I've seen is that the other gender doesn't hear the other gender well because of the bias that they have, right? Well, in fact, I should be able to talk to a woman about what her issue is without her saying, what about the man? And I should be able to and a woman should be able to tell me what they see from what's going on with me as well, right? To the same degree. Dwayne, what's your thoughts on what's going on in this conversation?
Well, y'all got some beautiful things to say. Very interesting. I appreciate it. Jamie, you're on fire. I like it. I agree with you though about people are tired. People are tired. And as y'all were sitting there talking, I do believe there are gender roles. How do I know so? The Bible tells me so.
That's a sign.
Oh yeah. But there is a hierarchy. So there's God, then there's man, and then there's the woman. So with that hierarchy, the man provides a protective layer. Y'all are saying it like it's in the physical. We're talking about that spiritual protection. That covering is that protective layer. So yeah, you can get your 9 and you could come out guns blazing all you want, but are you covered? That's the question. So men have the role to protect, and it's not just physically. They have to be able to physically protect, but then they also have to be able to spiritually protect and cover their wives. So whenever you're looking out for the protection of he can pay my bills, the Destiny Child song. Was that Destiny Child? Yeah, all that. When they're out there looking for that, that's fine. If that's what they want, but what they need is covering. So I'll go to the gender roles to that, and I'm gonna leave it there.
For sure, because as Jay Zill is saying, he's saying gender roles are far as far as chores and jobs. Did you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. So the idea that men and women are equal in being, but not in function, right? And so there is a particular hierarchy, just like any job, any corporation, any cult. Shout out to the Catholics. So for me, the idea that yeah, we do have a hierarchy, so that's more of a chain of command sort of thing, right? But I wouldn't ever say that like cutting grass is only for men. And if men aren't doing it, you're not a man, right? If you're not making more money than you're a woman, you're not a man. We had this problem because white men were kind of showing that very early on in our American experience. And so the idea that gets seeped into black men's minds is that I know what success looks like, which is the slave owner, is plantation capitalism over Jesus's Jubilee economy, right? So if you put your value that I have to be over the woman, I gotta make sure she don't vote, she don't have rights, I gotta make sure she cooks and cleans and runs my house and nothing else, right? It's not too long ago before women couldn't open up a bank account without a man with her, right? The idea that, what was it, in 2019, the right to finish laws were just wrapping up in North Carolina, I believe. 2019, the idea that if you, woman, get me riled up, I got the right to finish whether you want to or not. That was written into legislation. So as people who are being abused look up to their abusers and try to emulate that, then it seeps down and follows us generation after generation until we start paying attention to why we do the things we do. I have my kids play a game. They say, hey, I want chips. Why? They got to trace it all the way back to the commercial they saw that told them those chips were the best chips on the world. So I think once we start to do that more and just put our weapons down and our talking points and our balloons, right? We put all that stuff away and just sit across from somebody and genuinely ask them, hey, who are you? What do you want? And then tell them in return. And then we figure out what to do versus reverse engineering a relationship. I went to the club, I got drunk, I booty popped on him. Girl had to take him home. We did our thing, and then all of a sudden the next, subsequent weeks is, well, what do you think about a relationship? It's like, girl, I ain't about no relationship, right? Or vice versa, right? I think we just need to take a breath and start asking some serious questions and giving honest, transparent, serious answers.
Dwayne, what you got?
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. It's not about oppression, but I do believe there are women are at a young age more emotionally equipped biologically to handle children than men are, even after childbirth. Biologically, they're more equipped than we are to handle the babies by ourselves. It'll be a whole different ball game, boy. Whole different ball game. So from that standpoint, there is a role there, and then there is a change in role as the children do grow up. But outside of that, just cohabitating together, it's simple. Each according to their abilities. So we will then bash each other based upon what we have our predefined expectations of what they should be doing. So Jazilla, I do agree with you. These have to be conversations that are had before engaging in a relationship with somebody. It's a must have. You must talk about where you're going. As for finances, ideas for kids, and I think that I'm a huge proponent of marriage counseling before getting married, because you hash a lot of those things out before you get into marriage. But then there are even they talk about as for roles, gender roles. Hey, as for the simple thing of taking out trash, I would say a majority, the preponderance, 51% or above of men take out the trash. It's just one of them things, and I guarantee you can find the same thing where a preponderance of women who will handle a particular responsibility in the house, whether it's washing the dishes, packing lunch, or for the kids, whatever it may be. But it's each according to our abilities, and I think because we became so shallow that whenever someone starts to lack in a relationship, we only look at what they can contribute or what they're not contributing, and whether it's the finance piece of things, whether it's within their health. And you've heard situations, sad situations, where people are going through cancer, and guess what, their spouse cheats on them. Man, talk about not kicking somebody when they're down. But just like that, we have become shallow. It's only about what the other person can do for you, instead of the servanthood mentality in which each individual has to encapsulate and embody. So whenever, Jamie, you're talking about, oh man, it goes back to Christ. Oh man, absolutely. Dying to self daily. Because whenever we look at each other and we're like, oh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not doing the other, immediately what you're not doing is saying, what could I be doing for that other person? And that's how that's how you get things done, in my opinion.
That's really good. We're going to transition to our last question based on the time, unless we have time for another one. As I'm listening to the conversation, I'm trying to go through the questions that make sense to transition to, and I always want to be able to provide somewhat of a balance. Sometimes it does to some degree. So I'm gonna lean to this particular question as we talk. What are healthy expectations that both men and women should have for each other? What are some healthy expectations that both men and women should have for each other? And we're gonna start with you, Miss Taken.
The first thing that came to mind was do unto others, right? I think a lot of time we have expectations of the other partner as it benefits us without the consideration of modeling what it is that we want. A lot of times we are telling other people you should be doing, without necessarily presenting those same qualities and characteristics as well. But like one of the things that I had did a while back, with like, because y'all were talking about Proverbs 31 woman, and I always hear about that, right? And I'm not saying that it's not a good thing. Do not take that the wrong way. I think that is a great woman after I actually read all of the qualities and characteristics, right? But when I had looked, I had typed something in like for Chat GPT just to get a better understanding, like, is there, because you always hear about the Proverbs 31 woman, and I was like, is there a similar verse for men, like Proverbs 32 man or whatever, right? But one of the things that came up, like in the summary, it did say a Proverbs 31 woman is not complete without a godly man. The ideal biblical partnership is when both live in wisdom, integrity, faith, and service to God, right? A lot of times when men are talking, whether they are believers of the faith, because I think there's a difference between being a believer of the faith and acting in the faith, right? I think a lot of times people believe in the faith, but not necessarily act within their faith. And I can admit that I am guilty of that myself. So I'm pointing a finger, 3 pointing back at me. But as it was breaking down some of those traits, it was given a comparison for men to the Proverbs of Proverbs 31 woman, and I thought it was phenomenal. So it was saying, for example, a godly man leads his family. In comparison, just as Proverbs 31 woman serves her family diligently, a godly man is called to serve and lead his wife selflessly. And then for a comparison, is just as Proverbs 31 woman builds her household, a godly man must be strong and a trustworthy leader. Proverbs 31 manages a household and contributes financially, while a godly man ensures his family needs are met. Both fear the Lord and act with wisdom and bless others. So I'm seeing how you can't expect to have a Proverbs 31 woman without also taking action in those other areas. And to me, that's what I meant about leading by example. So you can't have those expectations without you doing the work too, because what you do, because y'all are one, what you do is going to impact and affect how she responds. So if you're a man of chaos, you can't expect that a woman is going to not be in chaos herself. Or if you do, then I think that's crazy, because everyone's affected by their environment. Like, even for men, if you come home from work and I have a certain tone because maybe I had a bad day or I'm not having a good day, I might be on my cycle. Like, y'all can pick that energy up immediately and y'all will start moving a certain way, like, let me stay out her way, or, babe, do you need anything? Because you can feel that energy, right? So if you're saying that you're the lead or the head, a lot of what happens in the house is a reflection of your leadership, and a lot of men don't like to hear that. So,
but I agree with that statement. Proto, chime in on this. So I know you have a particular thought process on what Ms. Taker has said, or even the question. What you got?
I mean, she was speaking like she was reading out of the book of Prototype just now. You know what I'm saying? So no, she's right on it. Like, men don't like to take up, their true responsibility. You know what I mean? So I think we just wasn't raised on it or something. I know a lot of us came from single parent homes, man. I had to learn on my own what my true role as a husband and as a father, as a man was. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to a woman's life. So yeah, no, I think men need to do a better job taking accountability for their women and their companies. You know what I'm saying? So
that's
you're
good.
not going to blame your management for the, if you're the CEO, you're not blaming the management.
That's what's up. You blame it on yourself because you're the one that hired him. What are some healthy expectations would you say that both men and women should have for each other?
That's a tough question.
Okay, that's what
I mean, it's a tough question because the expectation is that someone is just really genuine and there to be better. You know what I'm saying? But you can't expect decency from people. You know what I'm saying? And that's the unfortunate part about it.
Expect decency. The expectation is that they're decent.
Yeah, I would definitely say that, right? That's the expectation, but people are not decent. You know what I mean? Like, people always got, like, it's to the point where can you expect decency? Like, you're surprised, like, oh, you're actually a decent person. You'd be surprised to meet a decent person nowadays. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because somebody's always looking, get in your pockets, rob, steal, lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never understand the motive for real. You really got to protect yourself in a way where you don't care about other people's motives and you get what you want out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was listening to a pod earlier and they was talking about how, well, if a guy's going to hurt my feelings, at least he could pay me. You know what I'm saying? At least I can get his money or something like that. And he's like, well, wait, your feelings cost money? So I could just pay you for your feelings? And she's like, no, you can't. He's like, well, that's exactly what you said. I could pay you for your emotions. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't really know what to expect out of people. I would like decency out of people, but you can't expect you out of other people. So
okay. All right, Jamie, what you got?
So I'm gonna speak for people that say they believe in God relationships. I don't know what people outside of the will of God should expect, because they shouldn't expect anything. They're Satan's children. So Satan kids gonna get what Satan kids get: lies, deceit, What? I'm just saying. That's what they gonna get.
You have Jamie. I know you. In
Listen, I'm gonna
Hey,
be
that-
like,
I understand you in this. Listen, when I was reading through the Old Testament, I get it. I get it. But you still have to have. God still had compassion.
he does. He told them when they repent,
Old
then they can get
Testament,
then they can get the good stuff over here. But other than
He
that, they
said
can't
you're
expect.
Satan's children, though.
They are Satan's kids. Satan got kids too. He's
That's
the
fair.
father of the father of the children of lies. They lie like they father,
Okay, for sure.
the
So,
devil.
what would you say that men and women of God should expect from one another going into a relationship or
They
trying to
both
be?
need to fear the Lord. They need to have a healthy reverence and a profound understanding of the authority of the God they say they serve. If you have a healthy understanding of God, I don't have to worry about your character because you have so much respect for God that you won't do something outside of the will of God. And then you'll also know that the God that I serve is going to let me know. So all I got to do is pray, and he's going to reveal to me in a dream or a vision what you're doing behind closed doors. Right? So if we both have a healthy reverence, understanding, and a relationship with the true and living God, I'm talking about the true and living God of the Bible. I got to make sure I'm specific because there's different gods that people worship. But we have that, then we have everything. And I don't have to manipulate you. I don't have to control you. I don't have to rule over you because God does that. And that's his job. That's not mine. God gave me authority over creeping things. A man doesn't creep on all fours. A woman doesn't either. So therefore, that's not my job. My job is not to rule over you. That's God's job. And so the fear of the Lord is the best thing that anybody can have. If you don't fear God, I can't deal with you. Even in friendship, because that means that you can be used by the devil to do things that ops do. And we at war. And that's just the truth. And that's how I end that. You know what I'm saying? That's the answer to my question. Dwayne?
That's what's up.
What? Yeah, I could, man. Hey, man, I'm going through my day tomorrow. What? Jamie taught me. Oh man, appreciate that, Jamie.
Hey, listen. What you got on the question, my dude?
My bad. What are healthy expectations that both men and women should, the scrolling thing is a little slow,
That'd be
should
crazy.
have for
What
each
I'm
other?
saying about you, Dwayne, is that
Come on,
like you went first.
I lost it now.
It has been going. Like, what were you doing before? Why don't you read
I was
the
learning. I was getting my teeth out. I'm like, what? I was practicing.
This is crazy.
I was practicing, bro. Like for real. Tomorrow's gonna be real. People gonna be in trouble. My bad. Let me get to this question. What are healthy expectations that both men and women should have for each other? I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna take Jamie's cut. Christians, that each and every last one of us in the relationship, which is two people, are both sinners, and that we should be treated as accordingly. That we're also a child of God, both of us as individuals, so we should be handled and treated accordingly. And that, most importantly, the only person that can pour into us that will fulfill us and sustain us is God. And that when we start to look for our pouring into or our filling to come from each other, we're going to let each other down, and then we're going to start treating each other badly. Nobody pours into us like God, and then we could pour into each other.
That's what's up. Hey, Jay Zilla, for your question, check out John 8:44. Your question that you wanted to know that you put in the back chat. Has everybody had a chance to answer this question? Did Jay Zilla? Did you go ahead, bro?
Yeah. So I think healthy expectations for both men and women, as far as beginning a relationship, is what all of you all talked about, right? It's essentially the fruits of the spirit, and then get down into the details of what you want out of the relationship and what you are willing to give. And then you just negotiate. And if it don't work out, fine. Be willing to walk away from people. Now, as far as, I do think that God is more grace than our sin. We can't out sin his grace. All right. And I do want to encourage people like Jamie to, it's okay to be gentle. It's okay to be soft, because your father can take care of all that. He said, give it to me. He said, give me the yoke, which we discussed, I think, last month. The yoke is the literal thing that stretches over the backs of, things like oxen, right? Word seasoned with salt, speak softly. All these things that tell us to be more like Christ, which he approached people with questions. He met them where they are. He had no expectations in them. He got frustrated when it didn't work, but he still loved them, whether they were in or outside the faith, whether they were saved or not. And I think if we just go out there and focus on being our best selves and be okay with walking away from things that look like they are at this time falling short. Like me and my wife, we were together and we broke up. We were both maturing, and then we ran into each other, and now we're married with 4 beautiful babies. You know what I mean? So just keep working on you, trusting God to take care of all that fire and brimstone and, that gum, what's he call it? Striking into death. What's the word? Help me out, church folks.
Well, if I knew what you were saying.
I like smite. To be smitten.
Smite. and
Wow.
smite to death if need be, but that is not my job. My job is to cast the net wide as a fisherman of men and to plant the seed and let God give the increase. Right? All that fiery, mean, what? Yeah, you leave that alone so you can invite a better class of people.
You're referring to people that are not in Christ. That's
people. No. I don't make the distinction. There are just people. I think people should be kind. I think people should be patient, and all of that. God's gonna sort them all out in the end.
Yeah, but
as far as
that's not all biblical what you're saying.
No, it says especially. It also does say especially the people.
Especially, but it does not leave them on the outside. So consider it like this: God's the ultimate father, just like I'm a father, right? Mm-hmm. I am going to try to impart something onto my kids so they can have the optimum options and lifestyle that they want, that is also good for them, that also falls in line with God's perfect will. If they don't do it, it don't matter, but that's still my expectation as a father. I am trying to save my children from a grave fate. All of my children, if I'm a father, it's not one child I'm like, frap him. He's short anyway. He ain't gonna make the NBA. No, I'm gonna love on them. I'm gonna try to provide. Gonna try to give them something so they can in turn help others. And if they fall short, that's fine. But I do not think, even though there's a punishment, I do not think that God, really abandons, people.
No,
right? I'm saying people abandon God, not
right.
the other way around.
What I'm saying is, I think the gentle parenting is not the way to go. It's crazy that we talked about this.
I'm not saying gentle parenting either, though.
So okay, that's not what you're saying, but that's what you just said, though. Because
love sometimes is a whooping. Love sometimes is taking something from you.
That's not what you said, though. You said to leave it up to God to take care of it, right? You just supposed to give you said season with salt, which is a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are several times in the scripture. The one that comes to mind is when Paul is checking Peter, right? And then that's when he was acting as if he were something, and then his crew comes in, then he changes it up, right? And then Paul checks him for that. Then if you go into the Old Testament, it talks about open rebuke is better than concealed love. So it is a way in which you're supposed to check individuals that say that they are believers differently. Jesus even told the dudes that they was a brood of vipers, my guy. He came in the temple and threw over tables. He wasn't just, he was.
That's love to me, though. I tell my kids when they smell.
But what I'm saying, you said what you said, don't sound like what is in the scriptures, is what I'm saying.
I'm
So,
talking about trying to force people into a better lifestyle inside or outside the faith.
but that can, you can't force anybody, but the conversation can be, listen, dude, hey, what it is that you're doing is not cool. Like, you outside of the text. I'm talking about the people that believe in the faith, saying that they're a Christian. If you listen to Philip Mitchell is giving people what it is that they need from the position of how it should be given. And he's drawing people to Christ as a result of how he's teaching from a conviction standpoint. There's a guy by the name of John Bevere that does the exact same thing. I think currently in our society, in our churches today, there are too many pastors trying to pacify their constituents as opposed
No, it's not about that, humble man. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying literally,
what am I saying?
they're not picking and choosing who to give that message to, or who to be kind to, or who to rebuke openly. All of that, I do believe, falls under the umbrella of love. Open rebuke, just giving the good news.
So what
I'm
did you
saying
mean by
some people, what I'm trying to offer an alternative to people who are like, no, I'm sticking to just the people who are followers. And I'm like, that's not what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be trying to sort, because we don't know people's hearts. We don't know people's personal relationships.
Show me. See, like, I gave you context in scripture. So tell me where you see that you're supposed to treat them the same. What do you see that in the text?
Yeah, it talks about, you can go as far back as the Old Testament when it's instructing the Israelites exactly how to treat people outside of the faith. You still follow the same rules. You still don't steal from them. You don't kill them, right? You don't lend them money and expect interest in return. We as Christians, as individual Christians, have a responsibility to reflect Christ's light. That's it. And then let God sort out who is deserving of being in heaven and who's not. So somebody slaps me in my face, turn the other cheek. If I give them one of my 2 coats, here, give them the second one too. Like, these are things that says for us Christians to behave in a loving manner, whether we believe people deserve it or not. And God says, vengeance is mine, and I'll take care of the rest at the end.
I'm gonna come to y'all too. This is why I think that the us as believers have a challenge to face. The challenge that is faced is that there's 2 different doctrines being spoken, right? I'm saying, if Jay Zilla, if you are doing something, like I'm telling you right now, that you're out of the Bible right now, like I'm telling you that, right? And
Can you tell me which part?
I'm telling you that when you say you just need to love people, right? And then you say, right, but how people here love people is acceptance, is don't hold me accountable. That's how.
That's not my job. That's up to people to understand the definition of biblical love.
That's not true, because the scripture clearly says that those that are teachers are going to be held more responsible with what the words it is in which they're saying. So you cannot, just like Miss Taken was telling me, words matter, right? She said that to me, and I said, I agree. And then as we communicated, I had to correct my statement to make sure that I was in line with how to say it, so that the person that is receiving the information is able to move forward with it. I don't suppose to say it and let it rest.
But real quick, did I not give a list of things that by my definition, according to my reading of the Bible, love means? Love is rebuking. Love is correction, even when they don't want it. I said sometimes love looks like a whooping. Sometimes I tell my kids when they stink, it hurts their feelings, but they need to hear the truth. Just like the open review, like I'm giving a list with that. I'm trying to figure out where's the disconnect from what I'm saying and what you guys are hearing.
Dwayne, what you got?
Yeah, so I noticed, I jumped on what Jamie said. Jamie prefaced it with the inside of a Christian context. Like she made the preface, and I jumped on that bandwagon too, because it's the same thing, like you may mention, Jay Zilla, about the yoke. It also does talk about not being in a relationship unequally yoked. So there's a distinction there in the yoke based upon the faith. So there's a difference between being in a relationship with a believer versus a non-believer, because now you have these core values in which you guys came into the relationship on. So it's kind of like, hey, you come into the relationship, I'm a vegan, and y'all both vegans, and then next thing you know, you see the other partner chewing on the tomahawk steak. You're gonna have some questions. So in the same way, like in the relationship, there's a particular standards in which you guys are able to hold each other to, and especially as Christians, there that we from a moral standpoint, we're saying we have the moral high ground because our God, like what you're talking about, is the God of love. And based on Jamie, you're saying you're going through the Old Testament. Oh, there's a whole lot of correction and a whole lot of hindcourt spanking, like in the most severest ways, like to death, right? So like that's the God in which we serve, where he is love, but then we manufacture this God that's all he is without the judgment piece of it. So there is that, and I catch your point, Jay Zilla, but there is an explicit distinction between people with inside the household of faith. There's a higher standard that we have to hold each other with to. You say you believed in this. I say I believe in this. This is what we're standing on. This is who we're making the commitment in front of. And it's a higher commitment than people just saying some vows that don't believe in God. We're making a promise and a commitment in front of God that we are going to make him look good ultimately. And in that, guess what? We will then look good because we'll be in right standing with God. My 2 cents with inflation.
Right. And thank you for giving me a little bit more time there, Humble. So I'm with you on that. Right. And I think that's where we kind of mess up, is that we make our own, we lean on our own understanding and make up our own rules of what love and all these other things mean. God says, if you love me, you'll obey my commandments. So what is love? Is action. It's doing these things, no matter what the other person is doing, is all I'm saying. I do take your point, and I just think we can do better at recognizing people outside the faith all throughout the Bible do a lot that God rewards, even when the Israelites were complaining about not getting any steak in the desert. You know what I mean? So I take your point. I hope that sort of cleared everything up as far as what my definition of love is. It is action. It is not stealing. It is not putting another God before me. I mean, it's a whole rule set of rules. And I do think that God is going to judge each individual as individuals for the same set of rules, his rules, whether they realize it or not. And so I think it's up to us to make sure we are behaving consistently, acting out what God's version of love is, not what MTV tells you.
Gotcha, Jamie. On you the last. You're gonna close us out. What was that?
I'm not sure what you want me to say to close out.
When you finish your statement.
I mean, I do.
What are your thoughts? Because you have raised your hand, so I'm coming to
I
you.
did because I was only raising because I felt like Jay Zilla was trying to so here's the thing, the Bible clearly states that
I want that thought so
there
badly.
is a veil over the people that are not saved eyes. That there's a clear veil when you have not repented. There is a veil, right? That hearkens your ears to deception. Okay, to the prince and the power of the air. It also says in the Bible that the Bible does not hear the prayers of the wicked. So there's got to be a just person praying for you, right? What was being stated is give advice to people who cannot hear or understand the things of the Lord. It says that those that worship God worship him in spirit and in truth. But if they are of a different spirit, they cannot worship the God that is of spirit and in truth. And I'm not saying that we don't speak, but these people are not going to understand until they repent. They come to a part of repentance, right? It says that God is the one who determines the heart of a man, not me. It says that also evil communications corrupt good morals. It doesn't say that me being friends with an immoral person is going to make them better. It doesn't say that in the word of God. Nowhere does it say that. It does say, though, however, that if I am friends with somebody who is immoral, that I will become corrupted, because a little leaven ruins the whole loaf, not a little bit of the loaf, but the entire thing. Right? And so that's why we have to live by the standard of the word of God. When God sent them into territories, he says, do not eat what they eat. Kill all their animals. Do not marry their wives, because these people are corrupt. And if you marry them, they will corrupt you too. So we have to, not saying that we have to treat people differently. No, we love them. We treat them like humans, but we don't expect for them to understand our God. That's not their job. Our job is to give the good news of Christ Jesus. If they hear it, finally, if their hearts are open to it, lead them to repentance and then disciple them, because their flesh has been tore up. And so there's going to be a lot of things that they have to be delivered through, which causes real discipleships. That's like, okay, you're going to learn to fast. You're going to learn to pray. You're going to learn to stop overeating, because obviously God don't like that, because he killed them when he gave them the quails and they overate them. Right? So there's a whole situation there. We like to try to comfort people in their nastiness. If people comforted me in my nastiness, guess where I would be at? Still in my nastiness. Right? But I had some old heads that say, hey, you nasty. And I was like offended. But through that offense came correction. And then I got to sit myself down and repent. Right? So sometimes what you hear come out of my mouth, it might not sound good. It might not feel good. But it's because I love you enough to say, hey, you might die after this. Whoever's listening to this, you might get in your car and you might not live. If what I'm saying doesn't hit your heart and you don't repent, I'm sorry. But at least you heard the truth before you went in that car and God decided today was your day. That's it. And that's how I'm going to end it.
No, that's good. That's good. I think that it's important for us to come to the position of reading the Bible and studying the Bible. Agree, Jay Zilla. And I've studied the Bible, read through the Bible a couple of times. I've been discipled by, several different people. And the reason why I am less bothered by the world is because I understand that I can't talk to the world in the same way that I can talk to a person that says that they're a believer. There are two distinctions, right? So I can talk to my kids differently than I can talk to other people's kids, right? I can still have the same grace. I can still love them. I can still, if we need to go out to eat, I can still provide for them. But when it comes to saying, listen, this is what me and my house do, you're going to abide by the rules in which we follow here. And if you don't do that, there are consequences. Obviously, you said that, but I was saying only speaking to the people in the house of God that say that they're believers. They are to be checked if they are not living in a way. There was even when Paul talked about the in the church, I mean, there was people in the church doing all types of things, especially in the church of Corinth and the Ephesians. Paul had sent letters to them to check the people that were saying that they're followers of Christ, to get them out if need be. I mean, the guy was sleeping with his father's ex-wife, right? And he was saying that ain't cool at all. Y'all got to go. So what I'm saying is that we gotta live by the standard, obviously, okay, so that our words will be able to be strengthened by what it is that we're doing. Right. And that is a part of love. There's a part of love, telling people that they're not doing what they're supposed to do. But this all came about from the question about what some expectations that should be had in men and women. And one of those things, as it pertains to being a follower of Christ, is that people that the expectation is, if they say that they're a Christian, you should be seeing the fruit is what it is that they're bearing. Are they serving in the church? Do they tithe? What type of conversations are they having with you and with others? What do people say about them? What is their trajectory about, different things that are going on in the world? What are their biblical perspectives on things? And then that comes from, as Ms. Taken was talking about, the Proverbs 31 man, if you will. Like a Proverbs 31 woman needs a man of God. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. And so if you're not either one of those, then your expectation needs to be reduced, right? And I appreciate the time. Proto didn't get in here, but I think he's just listening. You know what I'm saying? Did you want to say something before we go, Proto? That's what's up. I appreciate y'all time. It's been dope. Y'all got me out here late. Until next time, we out here.
Got me out here read.
Bye.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.